Hello and welcome to the Arcade Heroes podcast, episode number 4. I am Adam Pratt. I am with ArcadeHeroes.com and the Game Grid Arcade. And joining me once again is Sean McDermott from All Castle Games. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Adam. How's it going?
It's been a week, or it feels like it's been an entire week, even though we're recording this in the middle of the week. How about you?
Busy, man. We're selling games like hotcakes today.
Well, that's good.
I think. But how are hotcakes selling? I don't know.
I have no idea what hotcake shares or the hotcake market is like these days.
Probably better than the arcade.
I'm old enough to remember the phrase, so whatever. Yeah. So I guess tell us how have things been in All Castle Games land since our last podcast.
God, man, it seems like a century. Well, we got the Star Trek up and running. I don't. Did I talk about that?
Yeah, last time you told us embarrassingly about the smoke that it caused.
The smoke monster from Lost invaded my Star Trek, and well, I don't remember how that show ended. So. Yeah, we got a new transformer, relatively cheap. We put it in. I put a fuse in that circuit. I put the bulb in right this time, and the light was working. And I'm like, awesome. So we have an LED light, and basically, that's been good. I did pick up. We got another 4-player Simpsons in, so now I'm up to 2 of those to work on, which I'm procrastinating on.
Sweet.
And we got excuse me. Yeah, we got an Emery in pinball machine from Bally, and that's sold today right away. And then someone brought a Revolution X from Aerosmith in for a quick fix. So got that fixed and out the door today. And then it's been the movies have been busy, man. It's good. So
right, yeah, there was a big family movie came out, Inside Out. I haven't seen it, but my wife took the kids and they all seem to enjoy it thoroughly.
That one caught me by surprise. I was not expecting that. Yeah, this is supposed to be my down week between Jurassic Park and Terminator,
Right. True, that's there is Terminator coming soon. I mean, personally, I haven't seen an uptick on my Terminator Salvation, although it's because one of my guns is broken on the Terminator, and it probably means I need to buy a new one, which is not cheap. But yeah, this at least seems like it's going to be a stronger summer, at least for movies, than last summer was. There was lots of talk about how much last summer sucked. And of course, just Jurassic World alone.
I screwed that up. Sorry.
Smashed it. Sorry, what?
I probably screwed that up and called it Park. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
No, that's me. But that right there is making the money people in Hollywood probably super happy. But I guess speaking of movies, we could segue really quick into the news that everybody was talking about yesterday with the Rampage movie was apparently in development, and they already have a big name attached to it. What are your thoughts on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson joining, or being the only person we know of that attached to the Rampage movie, which of course is based upon the 1986 Midway Classic or Williams Classic Rampage?
So they're making a Rampage movie. That's my first reaction. Like, what? No, it sounds, like with all video game movies, I have to go, I don't know, There's been some good ones, mostly bad ones, but
right.
I would like to see this one come to the light of day because I do like Rampage. I like Rampage World Tour as well. But, The Rock, I mean, hopefully they don't show him naked after he gets, don't you turn into a naked guy after you lose in that game? I don't want to see that. I mean, I'm just saying,
Well,
a wife.
I've talked with the guy who was the artist on that, the game designer, Brian Collin, and I remember him saying that nobody complained about the woman being naked, but he got many complaints about the naked guy, and that was back in the 80s as well. So I guess you're not alone in that.
I'm not homophobic. I'm just saying, like, I just, yeah, I'm a dude. I mean, sorry, bro.
They can throw all the naked ladies on the screen that they
I'm
want.
sure my wife would go see it if that was the case, but like, I don't know.
It's just Magic Mike. That's all.
Now, let's make sure that Ubol is not directing this movie, right? I mean, did they see who the director was? I'm not.
Not that I recall.
Oh no.
I think Bull's done. Last I heard about him, which I think was last week, he went on a tirade, swearing at his supporters, like he insulted them and insulted movie watchers and just told the industry to F off, which is actually something a game company out of Belgium did, I was reading. I'd never heard of them before, and apparently they released a game that nobody wanted to play called Sunset for the PlayStation 4, where you do household chores or something like that.
Who wants to play a game with household chores, right?
Well, apparently they thought everybody did, and when it only sold 4,000 units, they went on a big tirade on Twitter, screaming and yelling and telling gamers to go F themselves and all sorts of things. And it's just like, if this is your attitude for, your failure on that, I think you guys were in the wrong business to begin with.
That brings to mind those old Japanese games about landing airplanes and driving an ambulance, but you don't really get to do anything fun. Do you remember those games?
Yeah, the Sega was big on those. Or
Taito too. Like Taito had a landing high Japan.
Right.
I had a landing high Japan, just so you know. It's the dumbest game in the world. And even when you try to crash and make it cool, it's still they wouldn't let you make it cool. It sucks.
Right.
Anywho, so what's going on in the world of the Game Grid over there in Utah? What's going on over there?
Well, I mentioned something about this last week on the Weekend Post. There was a local arcade that's... I'm not sure exactly how long that particular location's been around. The name is very well known here in Utah, called Nickelcade. But apparently... this Nickelcade in Ogden, Utah is not technically affiliated with the other ones, although I'm not sure how that works because they all use the exact same logo. They have the same business name.
Is it Nickel City or Nickelcade? Because there's two.
Nickelcade. Yeah, well, here in Utah, we love nickel arcades for whatever reason. There's Nickelcade, there's Nickel City, and
that used to be
Nickel
Cap.
Main.
Right.
Sorry?
Nickel City was Capcom's operation thing, I think.
Gotcha.
Back in the day.
Gotcha. And so there's a Nickel City down in Provo, Utah. But yeah, there were 3 Nickelcade locations, and so this one up in Ogden, which is northern Utah, they closed. I did talk with the owner there. Didn't really get into. I didn't go in there and say, "Hey, so how come you're failing?" or anything like that.
Oh, come on!
No, he was a nice guy. And so they auctioned all their games off. I guess some people locally were a bit upset about that, wanted them to sell it off privately to them or whatever, as opposed to giving everybody a shot at it. The auction was handled by Super Auctions, which I believe is infamous for some reasons. I had an operator contact me telling me to be careful because I guess they've been banned from doing business in Texas for some reason.
Really?
He didn't get into it. I didn't really have any issues. I bid online. I mean, it's not exactly like eBay. It's a little bit different. But I guess the one thing that did surprise me a little bit was all the taxes and fees that they slapped on top of everything.
That's common for auctions.
Yeah. This is the first time I've ever participated in an auction. I've always been so cautious that I just didn't bother to really do it outside of anything on eBay. But I won the auction for 4 games, probably close to almost $400 in taxes. So that was where I was a little surprised, a little disappointed, I guess. But anyways, picked them up. I wasn't as well prepared as I should have been. couldn't find a truck with a lift gate. I really wanted that. 'Cause I
Oh,
knew
really? Oh, man.
yeah.
Now I know why you sound so tired.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, the auction ended on Saturday night, and all shipping companies are closed at that time. And then, as I was looking around, everybody that has a liftgate solution, they don't allow you to reserve it online. You have to call them, but then they're all closed Saturday night. They're closed all day Sunday. So, and they don't always say that you can reserve same day. And so I just had to break down and reserve a U-Haul with a ramp. But yeah, my brother and I, we went there, had somebody watching the arcade, and we loaded up a DDR Max 2 machine, which I just found out today is actually a DDR Extreme. It's taken me a few days because that was a bit beat up. For some reason, somebody decided to remove all the bolts that was holding the support bar on one of the pads in. I still have no idea why you would remove all of those, but they only did it on one side. So I had to run around hardware stores buying bolts, going back and forth until I could find the right size, as couldn't find a manual for the thing. I did have somebody send me a manual for a couple of DDR machines, which was helpful for a few other things. Didn't have that exact bolt size, but I was able to figure it out.
Did you figure out if it was a Korean one or a Japanese one?
It looks Japanese, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's all metric sizes for all the bolts and stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember the. I think it's the coin door will usually give it away.
Oh, gotcha. It's a single slot coin door, but unfortunately, the Nickelcade did not deactivate the locks like they were supposed to, and so tomorrow I've got to go with a drill and drill out the lock and replace that. It's always a lot of fun. Yeah, but yeah, I fired it up today, I didn't want to turn it on until I had the bolts because I did not want to have a game that was unsafe. Almost like what we talked about in the last podcast where Nick talked about a location where they didn't have the feet down and the pads were moving everywhere. But I mean, that thing was disgusting. We still got to go through and clean it out. It feels like it has 50 years of accumulated grossness on it.
Get some simple green, soak it. That's what I do when I get games in, man.
And so, but yeah, it's a DDR Extreme. So the auction listing didn't mention that at all. It just said it was a DDR Max 2 7th mix. But fired it up today and said DDR Extreme, so okay, I'll take it.
That's a way better game.
I'll just have to find a marquee. I mean, the marquee lights don't work at all unless they come on when you play the game. They don't do a track mode, but I doubt that.
I know that the spotlights can be a kind of a pain in the butt to get to. Sometimes you have to put new sockets in.
Gotcha. Well, that would make sense. And of course, with as much as it was thrown around in the truck, I imagined that probably broke something somewhere.
Sometimes when they don't put because that header comes off, you know, and sometimes when they put it together, they don't bother plugging it in. You know, sometimes you just go and plug it in. You know, so.
Right.
Especially if your speakers don't work, that's a big giveaway.
Sure.
I've had like a dozen DDR machines in the course of 10 years. So.
Well, as I continue this journey of exploring its nuances, I'll be sure to hit you up. That's for sure.
I got some tricks. I'm gonna do a DDR machine. Maybe I'll make a video because I gotta do ours. We just got that Supernova in, and I haven't got the pads work, you know. But I'm gonna go through and do my little special things that I do, you know, to make it sensitive because I like playing that game. So.
Right.
And it better play good for me, you know. But
well, good.
What else did you get there? I know you got some other stuff. I want to hear.
Yeah. Apart from the DDR, which was one that I was really looking for, since I've had people complaining that I don't have one for a long time. You're not a real arcade because you don't have a DDR.
Yeah.
Sort of criticisms. An Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 was one that I got. I actually had to pay more for that than the DDR. But got a really good deal on it compared to what I've seen MK3 games sell for out there. It needs a little bit of work on the monitor. It's got kind of a greenish hue to it, but the that shouldn't be much trouble. Otherwise, everything works, all the controls work. So excited to have that one in there, because that's another one where you guys suck because you don't have Mortal Kombat sort of thing.
I don't get that, man.
Going on. Yeah, you'll hear that. I mean, that's the thing, is people that don't play the games, they'll be very vocal about games you don't have, but when you get them in, they don't play them.
Well, they'll play your DDR.
I'm sure my DDR will be played. My re-rave wasn't. I mean, I didn't really have anybody demanding that, but it was a music game. And at first, people said, "Man, it's so cool that you got this in here. I'm glad you're supporting the scene." But then most of those people I've not seen since. It is what it is. It's something it's more about appealing to the casuals, and they see something that's recognizable. Oh, I recognize DDR, or I recognize Mortal Kombat, or I recognize Street Fighter, etc. So I know it'll work out in the long run, and that's why I jumped on it. I hadn't been planning on bidding on anything. It's just, it's not very often that an arcade, especially the size of Nickelcade, closes in the area, and for the pricing that I got everything at was really good. But in addition to the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, I got the it was a Knights Round by Capcom. Unfortunately, that one, when I got there, it was DOA, and I still haven't been able to figure it out yet. It's a power issue of some kind. The monitor sounds like it's getting power, but nothing else is. So I've already checked the fuse in the block at the bottom and replaced the plug, since that wasn't very good, but hasn't changed anything yet. And then a Tengai by Psycho. It's a Japanese hori shmup or shoot 'em up game, side-scrolling shooter. I actually had the board to that before, but this came in a Dynamo cabinet, which I had not seen before. And the pictures, it looked really small and compact, but it turned out to be the biggest nightmare to move. It's whoever designed
DDR?
Oh yeah, because whoever designed it, it's one solid upright piece. Well, I mean but it's got all these weird shapes and weird angles on it. There's no way to really conveniently put a hand truck to it. You can't put it on the back. We had to do it from the side. I saw
a picture of that when you posted.
Yeah, and they had a ton of them there. Nick Lombardo was saying it's a Ninja Gaiden cabinet, but it has Dynamo stickers all over it.
Yeah, Dynamo copied some people.
Right. And so, but I mean, this thing is a beast, and it was very, very heavy, very top heavy. So that's one that I don't want to move very much.
It kind of reminded me of those Namco dedicated cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of like the same goofy ass, like, they were just annoying. Most operators smashed them up because of that. I mean, I've seen it happen. Not me, but I'm just saying.
Well, not Nickelcade. He had probably about 20 of them there.
Because you got them cheap.
Yeah. Well, I got him cheap too, so
no complaints then, right?
So yeah, that's what it was. 4 games. I did bid on a few others that I didn't get, which in hindsight I'm kind of glad, just because I got enough as it was. I do wish I would have gotten the Rampage World Tour as opposed to the Knights of the Round at this point.
Well, that's an awesome game.
Yeah, well, I probably could have got it, but I didn't want to spend that much more.
Did you have to take stuff out? I mean, you must be getting crowded in there.
Oh, that's I already was pretty much cramped, and so I did have to shuffle some things around. We don't really have much storage space. My location was cut in half last year to make space for a Bed Bath & Beyond. And while that didn't affect the arcade space, what I had for storage or parts or office space, it was diminished to about a 3.5 foot hallway type deal. So I have this very narrow space behind my arcade, and it's enough to fit cabinets in a few. I moved 3 of my dead cabinets back there, but I still need to do some shuffling because the DDR takes up so much space. I mean, I had to get a little creative with moving things around, but I have one cabinet, a Bruce Lee cabinet, as I call it, because it has Bruce Lee on it for some reason, but not a Bruce Lee game. It's a Chinese sit-down cabinet. I got that recently, but I had to move that around, and it's not plugged in at the moment. And then I've got Star Wars Battle Pod probably coming next week. Unfortunately, I still haven't received that, but best guess is next week. And that's going to take up the amount of space as 3 pinball machines. And
Right.
so my Shrek, I've got that set aside for a guy that wants to buy it as soon as I fix something on it. Although I haven't been having any luck getting a hold of Stern. They aren't answering my calls or my emails about this fixed. But
Did you call 1-800-Kickers and talk to Chaz?
well, I tried calling. I haven't been calling constantly because I've been so busy with other stuff, trying to fix the DDR and some other issues that have been happening this week. So I left a voicemail.
You're probably smart getting rid of all that storage space, to be honest, though, because, I mean, the lease square footage-wise in a mall is horrible. And
well,
you can rent a storage unit.
They that they don't look at square footage, which I'd never heard of before.
Really?
But yeah, because I brought this up when they cut it down. And then I was saying, well, are you guys going to give me a better deal? They're like, well, we actually don't look at square footage. We look at how close you are to the center of the mall. And
well, they look at that too, but they look at your square footage. I mean,
well, that's what I thought too, because I've never ever heard that before.
That sounds like
I'm sure that's what they just said as an excuse to say, well, we can charge you whatever we want to charge you.
That's like raise your rent, basically.
Yeah, they did not give me a better deal on rent for removing most of my space. So
that sucks. I know when Namco built the stores, they gave like a little storage possible. You know, here's your little room. It's like 2 feet, or it's like basically what you have now is what they built. Because every square foot that they could have a game sitting, but you know, it's like money in the bank to them. You know,
right.
So.
Well, if that didn't happen, I had such a large space that I could have doubled the size of my arcade with what was there.
Yeah, that sucks.
And that's what I would have done. I just would have converted that out to more game space, maybe even had like a private party room or something like that for tournaments, and a small office space and place to put parts and game boards and stuff like that. But, you know, it wasn't to be. But I definitely am at the point where it's like, man, I would really like to do something, come up with a way to do a Kickstarter or something to really save up to launch a new location, a second location, and expand. Because I am super, super cramped at this point. You know, it's about 60 games and 2,000 square feet of space.
Well, I would kill to be in your space, just so you know. Like, I would.
But that's the thing is, I can't complain about how we've been doing business-wise. It has been great, and we're in the best spot that I've been in, because I've been shuffled around a few times in the same mall. But you know, having a second spot might be good, more expansion room to be able to do this crazy stuff that I do.
They want so much for the damn leases around here by me, and all the malls are dead. So I'm kind of scared to rent like a strip space. You know, will people go to that? Like, I don't know. You know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the only way to get people into a space like that would be to have a huge arcade. But even then, at least what I ran into when I was looking for a space, because it's the very first place that I attempted to open my arcade at was a strip mall that's still there, but it's really decrepit and dead. Not really sure why I decided to try for them, but
it's probably cheap.
I ran into some landlords that just outright refused to have an arcade.
Oh yeah, I got that too just recently. Like they wouldn't call me back.
Right. I mean, you bring up that word, and it's like they see visions of RoboCop 2 or something, and think that you're just going to run a futuristic drug deal out of there, something idiotic like that. And you know, no matter how family friendly you might actually have your arcade, or just how wrong that is overall. But yeah, I ran into that a few times where they just were not interested in having an arcade because they would rather have Weight Watchers
Nothing.
or nothing. Yeah, they would just rather have it collecting dust or something.
I swear there must be some sort of tax write-off or something. I don't know why. I mean, there's some malls that have nothing in them, and I can't get an arcade in there. I'm not going to say who, but
Right.
Well, the whole Nickelcade thing. I took a look at that, and that thing intrigues me. That whole concept, like, it's just, God, I kind of want to try it, but
Right.
I can imagine that the video games get beat to hell.
Well, that's the thing is, I know one of the Nickelcade owners. I did a review of a Nickelcade some years ago on Arcade Heroes, and they didn't ever contact me directly, but they talked to one of the distributors that was in existence at the time, Mountain Coin. They went out of business last year, but they told Mountain Coin that they were furious because I pointed out. It was just a fact. I mean, the place was disgusting. I mean, they didn't clean anything ever, and I also didn't like how it had extreme lighting. Like the way they lined up the lighting was more like a school, and then a lot of games you had fluorescent bulb glare right in the screen.
Yeah, but I had when Namco opened the timeout here in town in 2000 by me, they put the same lighting in. And I know what you're talking about, man. You can't play anything. I couldn't play pinball,
Right, yeah. There's just certain things with lighting you have to do. But also, just to me, if you don't clean the games, it just tells everybody you don't care. And usually what you will find is, especially in a large Nickelcade or arcade like that that's really dirty, is it's just a lot of stuff doesn't work. And we both know how people won't tell you when something doesn't work. And when you have an arcade that has 250 games in it, lots of redemption, lots of video, and if you don't seem to bother to clean them, then you're probably not bothering to test out everything except for your main pieces.
And the whole cleanliness thing is exacerbated by like the fact that they have the lights all the way on, so you can see like every little thing. The mall here is dirty as hell that we have in the game room, but the operator turns all the lights off, so you can't really see it.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's what you should do. You should clean your damn games. I mean, I'm really big on that. I know you're big on that, and that's
right.
Walt Disney. That was one of his pet peeves too when he opened Disneyland. It had to be clean, and that's very important. It's more important than the damn game working almost half the time. So.
Sometimes, I mean, I have hand sanitizer. I have signs up saying that we clean the games just to reinforce the point. And I've had people compliment us on that before, saying, "I'm really glad you do that." I mean, I know not everybody's a germaphobe or anything. It's just, sometimes there are people that are a little gross. They won't wash their hands after the bathroom or whatever, and then they go and play a game. And when you are the next person in line, you don't necessarily want to touch that.
I don't know if you guys get snow down there. I don't know. You probably don't.
Snow?
Do you get snow in Salt Lake City? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, we have the greatest snow on earth. We're well known for our skiing.
Okay. Yeah. I am not like enlightened. Okay. I am just a backwards Wisconsinite.
I can tell. Yeah.
And we get snow, and you get salt. Okay. And on the driving games, it's it's a constant. Every week, I'm scrubbing the feet areas out with a rag.
Right.
It's a great time.
Yeah. Salt and gravel. I've dealt with that problem too before.
In spring, you get. I used to have these guys come in and play DDR that worked on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
And they would play with like these muddy boots that smell like manure. Yeah, so
nice.
Just hope that doesn't happen to you, my friend. So.
Not that I've seen. Well, I've had some people come in before where it's either a body odor issue or they've stepped in something issue.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that, I guess. Yeah.
Or they don't have any qualms about puking on your floor as opposed to finding a bathroom or the garbage. That happened a few weeks ago and caught it on camera. It was great.
Well, let's what have your games been ranking? Do you want to talk about that? I mean, I want to start talking about how our games are ranking. We don't have to talk about how much money they make. But
well,
let's do like a rank.
I don't have it in front of me right now, but I'd say the Jurassic Park arcade's definitely number one. followed by supercars. I have a pair of Fast and Furious supercars that are conversion kits, and
I had to buy one of those now.
I think what might land in third place, probably my Terminator or my Big Buck HD. Although, like I mentioned, my Terminator would be a little lower since only one gun works right now. As far as top 3 goes, that's what I pretty sure they're at.
Well, you have to let us know what was wrong with that gun, or unless you're just going to swap it.
Yeah, I need to open it up when I find some time and check the voltage and all that fun stuff. With the Big Buck HD, it also had a problem with the right gun. It wasn't working. Same issue almost. And I borrowed a gun from another operator, and it works just fine now. So something in that gun somewhere is the problem.
Probably. I mean, there's not a whole lot to those guns. It's just that it's just that front IR sensor.
Right.
And usually there's a connection issue, or you just replace that. It's cheaper than replacing the gun. That's what I found with the House of Dead games.
Right. That's what I did with my House of the Dead 4 all the time. I was replacing parts on that constantly.
That one I always run into issues with. I have one still. And I have a Rambo, which has the same guns.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I actually have other guns that are sitting on a shelf that we pulled from another Rambo. But I find that it's just that stupid connector that plugs into that sensor. And I go in and I reseat them and clean those pins. You know, and I'd make them tighter, and it'll work for a while. And then I got my House of Dead from GameWorks, and somebody took in their cheapness. No offense, GameWorks. Okay, they took a gun cable from a House of Dead 2, and they soldered every single wire.
Wow.
So there's problems with those solder joints too. And I go in and
right.
Once every 3 months I have to do that. So.
Yeah, with me, my House that I had 4, it was twice a week that I was opening up the guns, blowing it out with a can of air, resoldering joints, checking connections. It just got to a point where I said, I'm done with this, and I sold the game off. I mean, it did okay, earning-wise, but I have a friction gun kit, which was sometimes out-earning the House of Dead 4. And I had the 62-inch version of House of Dead 4, so it always drew in attention just due to its enormous size and a well-known game. But, I just got to a point where it's like, I can't take this anymore because I'm working on it all the time. People are always complaining about it. Oh, your House of Dead sucks. It doesn't work. That was one that people were vocal about, at least. But it just got to a point where it's like, this is just a losing battle. And in parts, sometimes I got lucky and was able to get some parts at really good prices, but sometimes I wasn't able to. Like if I had to go through Sega to replace the bulb, and the bulb would burn out very frequently, they wanted to charge you like $500 for the bulb.
Whoa, what bulb? For the sensor ring?
No, for the TV, since it uses DLP TV.
Yeah, I got some of those bulbs.
I mean, the gun parts were expensive too, because if you wanted a replacement harness, it's like $200 for a bundle of wires. I don't remember how much the IR sensors were.
I know the guns were like $700 or something like that.
Right, to replace the whole thing. But
they wanted how much for that bulb? $200.
Well, the bulb, thanks to some help from other operators, I was able to find out the actual part number of the real bulb. Sega came up with their own part number that had nothing to do with the actual part, so that to try and make it so that you had to go through them as the sole source for that. But once I had the actual part number, you could find it on eBay for less than $100.
Yeah, someone luckily had the TV manual in our game for the TV that was in there, and I got that 63-inch one too, and it's getting dim. But I got a bunch of extra bulbs, and
that's good. You need that.
I had one of those TVs personally when they were new, and there's like a light array that goes bad in there too, and you start getting a really crappy picture, and eventually it's just crap. But I'm probably gonna go to Walmart and probably get like I don't know, is that a
LCD?
Big LCD panel, and just put it.
I thought about that too. I mean, it would work just as long as it would fit within the confines of that setup there. But
I don't know. I'm too cheap.
The TV doesn't matter to the sensors. It's all the IR sensors anyways.
Yeah, for people that don't know how light guns work. Like, I mean, they've kind of gotten away from using the actual CRT now, thank God.
Yeah.
So, okay, so on our collection front, I'm only like halfway through like my collection period, so I can give you a sort of idea of what our top.
Oh, that's what I gave everybody. So go right ahead.
I mean, next podcast I'll have the full details. You know, it's going to be for me. I can do right now as it sits right now. This is scary, people. I know, but I have Pac-Man Battle Royale on the top right now.
Ooh.
Which is kind of a fluke because it's in a new bar as the first time it's been there. But now here's where the catch-22 comes in. I haven't collected the places that have Keymasters or Barber Cuts. So these places that I did collect have like stackers and stuff, and I would say that our number 2 game after that would be, I'm just looking at the list, I'm trying to find it, would be a photo booth from Apple Industries, and then after that is a rubber ducky crane. So I mean, they love those rubber duckies, man.
I guess so.
I'm actually going to outfit another crane with rubber. I mean, they played the hell out of that thing. I just, whatever, that's cool. But
whatever works.
And I can tell you that we got the new Minions for the movie in. And I put those in. I have some locations that have 2 cranes in the movie theaters and some that only have 1 right now. And the ones that have 2 got them early. And I'm just telling you, like, I can tell you that's probably going to be number 1. I was there playing in Pinball League last night, and that thing was, it was just nonstop getting played for crane, and that's a lot of money. So
nice.
But we're a different kind of operator. I wish I had a nice mall. Our video games would be on the list, But
right.
I was real surprised to see Pac-Man up there, So I hope it stays up there.
See, video's not so bad after all.
Well, I have to go with what our locations, can do. We are going to put a pinball in that same bar, so we'll see how that goes. I got to do that tomorrow, so that's a great.
Nice.
Okay, so we have a little interview with Spooky Pinball, and I suppose we can go ahead and play that.
Yes. Just as a warning, I don't know, or just FYI, I'm not in this interview. Due to some of the hectic runarounds that I had today, my internet was out at my arcade, so Sean took care of all this by himself here.
Yeah, and our internet was not being swell either, and I apologize for the quality of the Skype call. Charlie did give away some pretty neat stuff about what to expect in the new game, so... Let's go ahead and have a listen to that, and we'll come back and say our goodbyes, I guess.
Okay. Arcade Heroes interview.
I'm sitting here with Charlie Emery from Spooky Pinball. Hello, Charlie.
Sitting here is a relative term.
Well, yeah, sitting here maybe like 100 miles away, almost in the same room, right?
I am lying on the floor with my laptop right now, trying to get my back to stop killing me.
Screwing a few things on a machine to get them done, kind of thing.
Something like that.
Why don't you tell everyone that listens to our podcast a little bit about yourself, in case they don't know what Spooky Pinball is, and what is Spooky Pinball?
We are like the 18th largest manufacturer of new pinball machines on the... No, it's not. We're not quite that low. We're like the 3rd largest manufacturer of pinball machines on the planet, which is not saying a lot. We're the boutique guys, so to speak. We're producing right now Ben Heck's America's Most Haunted, which is 150 units. We're a little over halfway through that run in games delivered, which is really important.
Yeah, right. Go ahead. Especially these days, right?
Yeah, anybody that's into pinball listening to your show obviously knows what I'm talking about. And we're a small family-run business in Benton, Wisconsin. We're just happy to be here.
Now, how did you first get into pinball? I mean, what was your first experience like?
I've told this story a few times, but basically, when my daughter was really little, she's 16 and driving now. We were watching. I can't remember even what it was. It was a movie or a TV show. Somebody was playing pinball. My daughter was like, "Daddy, what are they doing?"
Right.
And it dawned on me, I had never played pinball with my child, and I grew up on pinball. I was raised by people that like to hang out in bars and bowling alleys, essentially. And here's a handful of quarters, kids, go do your own thing. So I'd go play pinball because I didn't have a lot of money, and I could occasionally win a free game. But flash forward, later in life, here's my daughter asking what a pinball machine is. I decide, well, we're going to go uptown and play a little pinball. We've got 3 bars in Benton. It's Wisconsin. You can take a little kid in there. Nobody seems to notice.
No.
Nobody had a pinball machine. So then I started looking around our area trying to find games, and there was none to be had. And then I stumbled on the internet and learned that Williams had recently gone out of business. So you're talking right about the year 2000 or so, and maybe 2001. And thought, wow, I better get a pinball machine before there aren't any left.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I remember those days.
Oh, yeah. So I bought the first game I could find, which was a Firepower 2, and that began the train wreck obsession of my life, apparently.
How many games do you own now? Like, not including the ones on the line. I mean, like, personally.
Personal collection is like 25 in the house, and then there's 4 or 5 at the shop that are always overflow. That has been one of the real joys of owning a pinball company, is now I don't have to limit myself to what I can actually cram in the house. If I find a good game and I'm not ready to get rid of something else, I can throw it in the shop. But
until you run out of room there, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's how it started with me. So.
And I can get it past my lovely, wonderful wife, KT, who is standing here looking at me like, what?
Like, who the hell are you talking to? Like,
take it to the shop instead.
Now, what sets Spooky Pinball apart from, like, say, Stern or Jersey Jack? I mean, what makes Spooky Pinball special?
Those guys are the big dogs. We are the small fish in a small to medium-sized pond. Stern is absolutely the great white shark swimming around at the top of the water. That's, they're the ones that are able to crank out just thousands of games. And we are forever in awe of Stern and what they're capable of and what they can do. And, we get to visit their facility once a year as part of our little podcast and kind of interview everybody. And we've got a lot of friends at Stern. I admire those guys immensely. I think Gary Stern is he's managed to keep pinball alive and nobody else could. And kudos to him for that.
Yes.
Jersey Jack's kind of middle of the road. They've gotten a lot of games out the door. They make a wonderful product. And we're, like 2012, everybody started announcing that we're going to make games. All these little companies started to pop up. So far, we've been the ones that have actually gotten it done, and that's not me bragging or anything. That's just saying that it hasn't turned out the way a lot of people would have liked it to. And the fact that our little team has managed to scrape together a decent little living, is what we do full time. I quit my job 2.5 years ago after Ben insisted I do that. That's a running joke between him and I. He never said that, but I like to tell him he did. And, we're just happy to be here, man. We're just a small team of really, really passionate people that like what we do.
Awesome, man. That's totally awesome. Now, I've imagined you've learned a few things building your own pinball machines. What would you say is, like, the most important thing that you've learned building your latest game, America's Most Haunted?
Everything matters. Every nut, every bolt, just everything matters. When we launched the game initially, a little over a year ago, we started shipping them. We thought we were production ready. We weren't. And I'm sure every company goes through this. I mean, you're always learning. But, once you start getting up around 60 games shipped, you would think you would have all the bugs worked out and the manufacturing process down to a science. That's not true. We still learn every single day. And, the quality has always been pretty good. Right now, I'm calling it better than when we started, and by the time we get to game number 2, it should be pretty well refined. But it really takes a lot of games to get that manufacturing process down to where it's repeatable and consistent. And to me, that's the biggest thing. Is, you got to have all your customers happy. Upsetting anybody is just devastating to me. I'm kind of thin-skinned in that department. I'd like everybody to be happy with their purchase. It's a lot of faith in us when they shell out $6,000 for a game, and I just don't want to disappoint anybody.
The quality is very important, right along with tech support and standing by your product. I've heard nothing but good things on the forums about you guys. The games are arriving, and if they come broken, I've heard you've honored repairing them, and it seems like all good A pluses. You have just announced your second game. Speaking of that, you just announced your second game, Rob Zombie's Spookshow International. What led you to seek out the Rob Zombie license?
Always been a big fan of Rob Zombie. Like my wife Katie and I have seen him I don't know how many times in concert. Love his film and his visual style basically on everything he does, which is just fun, weird, wild, wonderful stuff. Hence the name Spooky Pinball. So it's a good fit. We had Cassandra Peterson on our show, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, a couple of times. She is good friends with Rob, had indicated to us that he was a pinball fan, and I kind of knew that from finding a few photos here and there online. We wound up contacting his management. Turns out Rob was very interested in getting a pinball machine made, and pretty much bent over backwards to help us get the license. So it was very cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Is there any of them left, or are they all gone?
At this point, I mean, we haven't taken deposits on it. I am not a fan of pre-orders whatsoever. It's really hard to get away from that 100% at our level. So basically, we're just collecting names for people that are interested in the game. We have 300 games. That's all we can make by contract with Rob and his management. At the time of recording this, we have 279 of them spoken for.
Wow, that's good.
So, and I understand, a few people are going to fall away here and there when we finally reveal the full game. Some people are just going to put their name on to hold a spot and see if they like it, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm pretty confident at this point that all 300 units are going to sell out.
Yeah, I'm really tempted, honestly. I'm worried a little bit about the license being, in public, but I was really tempted putting down on one of those. And,
for location use, you mean?
Yeah.
It will have a family mode.
It will. Okay, that's a question I have on my list.
There is no nudity in the art. Alex Horley is the artist. He's a wonderful dude. But we did tell him to make sure that there wasn't any nudity. He's always got some curvy women in his art. That's his style. But yes, it will have a family mode, and people with kids are going to need it.
Yeah, I would assume that might be an issue with some of the wives out there. Did you get to meet Rob in person, or not really?
I've honestly met him twice. Unrelated to pinball, just as fan. We ran into him backstage at a concert in Moline one time, and one time when my daughter was 5, her and I drove to an in-store signing for the House of a Thousand Corpses DVD. I still have a photo in the basement of Rob and myself and his lovely wife and my tiny little daughter Squirrel, who nickname was like 5 years old, and Rob's out playing with her pigtails. Since we've been working on the project with him, right now he's out on tour, so we haven't had a chance to get together. I'm hoping we get to do that, but he and I do email frequently, so he's really good. I mean, he's hands-on. He has ideas about what he wants, what he doesn't want, and he has no problem telling me directly, hey, add this or take this out. So he's not just cashing a check. It's good. He really wants to be a part of the game. I love that.
Yeah, it seems, it's an awfully long title, so, it seems like it's a little more than meets the eye, just from the title. It doesn't seem just like your typical kind of like music game, it seems like there might be something else going on here. I don't know what. I have no idea, but it just...
Well, it's kind of an all-encompassing world. It's not just his music. We have the license rights to 10 of his songs, but there are some elements from some of his movies in the game as well. And as a matter of fact, today is, at the time of recording with you, is Wednesday the 24th. In 2 days, we meet with Sid Haig to do a bunch of dialogue with him as Captain Spaulding. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, we're having some internet trouble here, so I'm sorry about the quality of this call. What are some of the features that we can expect to see in this Rob Zombie Spookshow International game, like, that you could tell me of? Like, is there going to be toys? I mean, is it? I mean, what can you describe to us as right now? I mean, I know you can't tell everything, and you can't, maybe you can't say anything at all. I have no idea, but I mean, what kind of experience should we expect?
Well, and again, this has been a little bit of a point of contention on Pinside, the news groups. The game originally started out with Pinball Zombie from Beyond the Grave, which I had intended to be as far removed from typical fan layout, so to speak, as you could get. I wanted it a little bit more wild and unpredictable and chaotic. People pretty much unanimous. I would say it was unanimous. There were some people that were supporting it, but they still want that kind of fan layout flow. So Ben Heck and I spent a weekend kind of refining things a little bit, added another flow shot. So basically you have 5 nice flow shots that if you're hitting those shots, the ball will return to you. You are in control. If you miss, you're going to pay dearly. There are 4 slingshots in this game, pop-ups that have a very non-traditional kind of layout. So the game actually plays a little bit side to side when you're messing up, essentially. It does have a couple of bash toys, so to speak, Captain Spaulding being one of them. There will be an upper playfield that is... we won't give you everything on that, but it is definitely Spaulding's world, and there's a couple of parts from House of a Thousand Corpses that play a big portion thereof that upper playfield. There's also going to be... let's see, the Living Dead Girl is part of the promotional video, so I can see she's in there. The toys are being sculpted by Matt from Back Alley Creations, and he's got a few other little tricks and ideas for the game that he wants to implement, and we're all for that. We're going to put as much in there as possible. It does have a drop target, which is something we've been kind of pursuing for a while. Drop targets are incredibly expensive and complex to make. So to get over that hurdle feels nice. It will have steel ramp. Like America's Most Haunted had steel ramps. This game is the same. Steel habit trails, that kind of thing. And yeah, for now I think that's enough.
That's an awful lot. I actually did get to play that the original Zombie. What was it? The Zombie Girl? I can't remember.
It was Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave.
That was it had a long title. I knew that.
Alicia Crowley, and she will make an appearance at some point in the future. She's too cool a character. We're not going to let her escape completely.
I did like it. I mean, it was kind of not your typical kind of pinball. I'm kind of into odd pinball machines. I actually kind of like the WrestleMania one because it's just weird. It kind of reminded me of an old like haunted house kind of like Gottlieb design with all those extra slingshots. That's what came to mind when I first played it. It seemed like an older Gottlieb, and
yeah, and again, I wanted something a little bit wilder, different than what we've seen recently. But at the same time, people were right. It definitely needed more flow and more player control. So I think we've integrated the best of both those two worlds as best as we possibly can. And you know what? I'm going to take a chance on it. I hope people like it as much as I do. If they don't, then hey, learn a lesson from it anyway.
I mean, at 300 units, there's not going to be very many of them in the world. So.
Right, as long as 300 people like the layout and the theme and everything else, then mission accomplished. That's really what we needed to do. I
don't think you'll have a problem selling all 300. I'm surprised they're not all gone, honestly. Now, I have to... Basically, when are you expecting to ship? And how would somebody that's interested in getting a Rob Zombie Spookshow International Pinball go about doing so? I think you kind of covered some of this. But do we call you? Do we email? I mean, what would they want to do if there's any left?
Uh, Basically, you want to get on the pre-sale list or just the interested party list, as we like to call it. Pre-sale says money, and we're not doing that yet. It's the letter K, the letter T at spookypinball.com. Katie is my wife. She's our sales gal. She's our inventory person. Again, it's all family-run business. We do all work there full-time, including our kids. America's Most Haunted, we should be done manufacturing that game right about the first of the year. So come January 1st of 2016, we to flip the assembly line straight to Rob Zombie Spookshow International and start shipping then.
Awesome. Well, speaking from people that I know, everyone seems to be looking forward to it. It seems awesome from what we've heard so far. I have one more question. Something we generally ask everybody that comes on the show is it's kind of a goofy question. It's when was the last time you visited an actual arcade, and what did you play? That's kind of the thing that we ask.
An actual full-blown arcade?
Yeah, not somebody's house. I mean, like, you were out in, maybe you were at Walmart and you walked into the gameplay and you played a crane. I don't know. Like what was your last experience, if any, I guess?
Well, I can tell you, every time we visit our local super Walmart, I walk past the arcade and I always, without fail, joke to my family about, I don't see a pinball machine, I'm not going in there. So, boy, you kind of put me on the spot here, Sean. Last real arcade would have probably been a Chuck E. Cheese in Florida with my kids, because there's just nothing around us. I mean, there's a few spots that have 3 or 4 games here and there, pinball or otherwise, but really no full-fledged arcade. We're southern Wisconsin here right now. I mean, there is just nothing around us. The only big town close to us would be Butte, Iowa, and there are 0 arcades to be had in that town. Not even in the mall anymore.
Wow, that's too bad.
Which is sad, because that's where I grew up. I mean, there were arcades everywhere around me, and not the case anymore.
Just have to come a little north, man. You know, here in Fond du Lac, we got one, and it's not mine, and I wish it was. But
is there anything in Madison, Wisconsin, as far as full-fledged arcade? I know there's Pooley's, and they've got a chunk of pinball machines, but I don't know if there's any full-fledged arcades up there.
There used to be one in Easttown Mall that Namco had called Cyber Station. I worked there, but I think it's gone. Westtown Mall had Aladdin's. I think that one's gone.
How sad is it when something as big as Madison, Wisconsin doesn't have an arcade?
I thought there was some on State Street. There used to be a Tilt down there, down by where all the school is, you know, where the party goes on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that familiar with Madison, but I know that that's where the beer is, you know, so. And that's where there's usually riots sometimes when there's a winning sports team. Or is that Oshkosh? No, that's Oshkosh. My bad.
Yeah.
I was there for that. That was not cool. Okay, well, it's a pleasure having you on, Charlie. I look forward to talking to you hopefully again sometime. And sorry Adam couldn't be here. He's working hard on his DDR. So.
Yeah, he's a slacker. He just didn't want to be some lowly level pinball guy.
No, actually, pinball has been pretty much taking over our podcast. So, I mean, there's really the only news there has been in the arcade world. I mean, other than, you know, the stuff I like, which is like, you know, stuff that Baytech is producing up in Pulaski, which is like crane machines and skee ball and stuff. But, well, it was nice talking to you, man, and I wish you the best of luck. And I'm really thinking about maybe getting on the end of that spooky Rob Zombie Spookshow International list, you know. So
you should. You'd like it, Sean.
I think as long as you can put me down near the end, I think I'll be okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking care of that, Sean, and thanks to Spooky Pinball as well for giving us the shinny on what's going on with their new Rob Zombie pinball. That sounds like it's going to be a pretty awesome game.
Yeah, and I think I might commit to one here. Yeah, I don't know. I said I had to be at the end of the list, so because it's like, well, I could probably afford it a couple of years from now. I mean, you know, might as well get a really rare pinball. You know, I mean, since they're only making 300 of them, you know, I was like,
right,
that's got to be worth some cash. You know, from a pure profit standpoint, like I usually see things. So, So I guess that's it for this episode of the Arcade Heroes podcast. What you say? Or
Yeah. There's you can of course read about the latest stories on the website. Just today we posted about Stern's video about their Spike hardware, the VR-Cade teaming up with Dave and Buster's to bring some virtual reality to locations out there. And a couple of new arcades that opened out there. And if any of you know of some new arcades opening up, please let us know. I'd love to look into that and talk about it, share the news with the world. And we might have some, well, we definitely will have some more news ready to go. I actually have a few stories that I'm sitting on. I'm just waiting for a few more details to release some. One about Eunice and a big event that they held in China recently, and they showed off some interesting new game concepts. Larger scale, not so much small arcade stuff, but definitely be worth taking a look at. Yeah, that's, I think, will do it for us this time. So thank you for listening. Be sure to check us out on our different social media channels: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+. And same goes for All Castle Games, right, Sean?
Yep, at acgames@live.com. Wait a minute. I am so lost. And just look us up at www.allcastlegames.com, and if you see a little castle on your game, you got my seal of approval. So, as always, go out and play some arcade games, you know?
That's right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you out there.
Yep, thank you.